These are much better. This is called What an Orgasm Feels Like by Ava Swift. 3 million views released 3 years ago. Sped up to 1.25. I'm gonna recreate some Valentine's Day rooms. Yeah, okay, go ahead, goddess. Give us your best moaning session.
Oh yeah. I can't. I'm laughing too hard. Oh yeah. Yeah, I can't do it when I'm on the spot. It's too funny. We have one person. Robert, come with us. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Okay, that was fun. The goddess has left us. Let us return to the Tao.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Welcome to the second edition of the Alan Watts podcast, Being in the Way, and I'm your host, Mark Watts. Today, we're going to hear part 3 of Taoist Way of Dropping Out from Karma. And also, we're going to hear a talk called The Wisdom of the Ridiculous, which comes from the Lao Tzu tradition expressed in the Tao Te Ching. Recently, I've had a few conversations with people that would like to know more about my father's background and are having a hard time reconciling his worldview with the other philosophies that they know about. So I thought I'd do a little bit of storytelling. Talk a little bit about my father's early life today, and then in the next episode, we'll talk about when he was traveling a lot and making a lot of recordings, and how that morphed into the Electronic University Project, the predecessor to the Alan Watts organization. So we'll start off with his early life in London, what he learned at the Buddhist Lodge, and his migration to America.
When I was a small boy, I used to haunt that section of London around the British Museum. And one day I came across a shop which had a notice over the window which said philosophical instruments. Even as a boy, I knew something about philosophy, but I couldn't imagine what philosophical instruments could be. So I went up to the window, and there displayed were chronometers, slide rules, scales, and all kinds of what we would now call scientific instruments. Because science used to be called natural philosophy. Because, as Aristotle says, the beginning of philosophy is wonder. Philosophy is man's expression of curiosity about everything, his attempt to make sense of the world primarily through his intellect. That is to say, his faculty for thinking. And thinking, of course, is a word used in extremely many ways, and is a very vague word for most people. But I use the word thinking, now and hereafter, you must understand this, in a very precise way. By thinking, as distinct from feeling or emoting or sensing, I mean the manipulation of symbols, whether they be words, whether they be numbers, or whether they be other such signs as, say, triangles, squares, circles, astrological signs, or whatever. These are symbols. But all these things are symbols, and the manipulation of symbols to represent events going on in the real world is what I call thinking. I suppose most of you have heard of Zen. But before going on to explain any details about it, I want to make one thing absolutely clear. I am not a Zen Buddhist. I am not advocating Zen Buddhism. I'm not trying to convert anyone to it. I have nothing to sell. I'm an entertainer. That is to say, in the same sense that when you go to a concert and you listen to someone play Mozart, he has nothing to sell except the sound of the music. He doesn't want to